A man described by his grandfather as a dangerous white supremacist will remain behind bars for now. 22-year-old Frank Finch appeared for sentencing over theft and driving charges in the Christchurch District Court this morning. His grandfather had voiced concerns over his grandson's possible release ahead of today's hearing. But the young man has been sent back to prison and now faces a fresh charge. Katie Todd reports.
Frank Finch appeared in the Christchurch District Court to be sentenced for charges of theft and unlawfully getting into a motor vehicle. But it wasn't this offending his grandfather was concerned about. Rod Finch raised concerns his grandson was a white supremacist who had expressed a willingness to kill someone if he wasn't sent back to prison. Having served just under 6 months on remand in prison already, it was possible he could have been released today, but he wasn't. Judge Anthony Couch jailed him for 14 months, meaning Finch will serve at least another 2 months in prison. Judge Anthony Couch said it was clear the 22-year-old had no remorse and was likely to reoffend if released.
The conclusion of the psychiatrist is that you lack motivation to make meaningful change in your life or to take any steps to avoid further offending. The psychiatrist also concludes that you would need extensive and long-term support in a highly structured environment to gain the skills to even consider pursuing a viable life outside of prison.
Finch's lawyer, Alistair Davis, had asked for a sentence of intensive supervision. Speaking after the sentencing, Mr Davis said the jail term was a missed opportunity.
I thought that the package that the community probation put together had to be commended. They did a wonderful job, and perhaps there was an opportunity missed, but that opportunity may arise again in the future. At the moment, we've got a young man with some pretty serious psychological problems and issues that's in jail. I don't believe that that's helping him at all, but he's done the crime, he's got to do the time, I suppose.
Finch's grandfather, who sat in the public gallery at this morning's hearing, was happy with the outcome.
As of last Friday, there was nothing in place to support Frank upon his potential release today. So at least we've got now a proposed program which I believe will, over time, get Frank back into the community as a law-abiding contributor to society. And that's all he wants.
While Finch was sentenced today, the police laid a new charge of threatening to kill last night. It came as a surprise to Rod Finch, who said he was pleased he spoke out about his concerns. He's hopeful his grandson can turn his life around and safely reintegrate back into society one day.
He's intelligent and he knows where his weaknesses are. But how do you support a person? There needs to be a structure where he's going to get that support.
Rod Finch wasn't alone in worrying about his grandson's propensity to reoffend. Scott Guthrie of the Transforming Justice Foundation said he also had concerns about Frank Finch reoffending on release.
But I think that we've done enough now for corrections to be fully aware and the support to be behind Frank when he comes out. And when he does get released, it won't be into the mainstream community. It'll be a slow and sure release to make sure that he is ready to go back into the community.
Mr Guthrie said it should not have taken efforts from both Rod Finch and himself for corrections to sit up and pay attention. He said Frank Finch had struggled with drug addiction and targeted funding was necessary to ensure prisoners like him got the help they needed.
And then also, once these prisoners are released, they're just dropped into the community with a cheque for $300 in their back pocket. They've got very little support. There's not enough money within corrections to support these people when they come back into the community.
It's expected Frank Finch will enter a plea to the threatening to kill charge in 3 weeks. Kia o te tahi ko Katie Todd, tēnei.